What's up, everybody? It's Clark here for the BOS Sports Podcast. Reeling after the Atlanta Hawks are now 1-4 on this West Coast road trip after losing to the Phoenix Suns tonight, 123-115. This 5-game West Coast road trip started last week on New Year's Day versus the Denver Nuggets and a loss for Atlanta Hawks, and continued last weekend in Los Angeles and losses to both the Clippers and the Los Angeles Lakers. We're certainly thinking and praying for everyone affected by the Los Angeles wildfires going on right now. The Atlanta Hawks, they turned around Tuesday versus the Utah Jazz as Trae Young hit the buzzer-beating half-court shot to win versus the Utah Jazz. We're coming into this game feeling pretty good, thinking we might come in and win the game. But unfortunately, the Atlanta Hawks were without Jalen Johnson for their third straight game and just were not able to pull out the victory. As Trae Young, he had another day struggling shooting from the field. He had 21 points with 7 assists, but shot 6 for 15 from the field, 40%, and he struggled mostly going in the third quarter. He got hot there in the fourth quarter and had a nice fourth quarter. He was as well 1 for 4 from three-point land. DeAndre Hunter, he had 12 points and struggled shooting as well with 3 for 9 from the field. Clint Capella, he had a double-double again, but today's double-double was not the same as Tuesday's stellar performance. Even though he had 10 points, 11 rebounds, and 2 blocks today, he was 4 for 11 from field, 36.4%, something you certainly do not want to see from a paint scorer, especially with Jusuf Nurkic out. There's some friction there between the Phoenix Suns and Jusuf Nurkic as he's been suspended and is involved in trade talk rumors. Maybe a potential pickup there for Atlanta Hawks, although I believe, if I remember correctly, his contract is rather high, and the Hawks have limited room there under the first apron. Good news for Atlanta Hawks today is V. he had 12 points, 4 for 8 field goals. Nice shooting day with 6 assists and 1 steal. In his last 6 games, he's had at least 3 games over double-digit scoring and over 5 assists. Nice to see for V stepping into a larger role than we imagined him coming into the season. Of course, being potentially 11th or 12th man on this roster coming into the season after being extended, re-signed for Atlanta Hawks for up to 4 years. V. we were looking at him as being a supplement to the rotation, and with injury to Kobe Buffkin, he's now essential to the rotation. And just so happens we're doing a biographical segment on V. here later in this episode, later towards end, after we get through the rest of this game summary here. It was certainly a tough one for Atlanta Hawks. They will come back and play the Chicago Bulls on Saturday, and there might be some ice there in Atlanta, so they postponed, of course, tonight's game with the Wildfires, the Lakers, the Hornets. That's a much different situation than the Hawks game with the ice storm coming in. And we'll see how bad that is. Everyone listening, be sure to be prepared for the winter weather here in Atlanta or Georgia or throughout the country if you're affected by it. So back to the game here. Dyson Daniels, he had 13 points, 3 steals, 6 for 12 shooting. Some of the good notes here for the Hawks. Dyson had another nice day. Bogdanovic, he had a stellar day with 17 points, 7 for 11 from the field, good for 63.6%, and 3 for 6 from three-point land. Exactly right where we want to see Bogdanovic his production being, and limited shots, high percentage makes, as we'll see him come off the bench and share shots and opportunities with DeAndre Hunter as the primary options for offense off the bench for Atlanta Hawks. Onyeka Okongwu, it's been a light day for him. He had some positive signs, 6 assists. It was really great to see his passing game flourish in this day, but only 5 rebounds today. Certainly not ideal for his 21 minutes. That's pretty good. Clint Capella, he played 26 minutes, and he had 11 rebounds in his double-double. Still would like to see a little bit more out of them, out of our front court combination. And speculated in previous episodes, I'd also like them to add another center to this mix with Onyeka Okongwu. We discussed Walker Kessler in previous episodes. Jusuf Nurkic, why not? Let's look up his contract really quick. I have the computer out. Jusuf Nurkic contract. Let's see how big it is. Of course, teams, they can defer up to 50% of the salary. Nurkic is, of course, suspended right now. He has an $18.1 million contract. $18,125,000. So that is quite out of the question for Atlanta Hawks going up against the first apron. Even if the Suns were to defer half of that contract, we'd still have to give up a couple of players, including David Roddy, who had a nice day. He had 11 first half points this day with 3 first quarter 3-point attempts and makes. Previously suggested involving him in a trade, but kind of reconsidering that after today's game and what he shows today. So moving on, for the Phoenix Suns, Bradley Beal, he had 25 points, as the Suns had 4 players and 20-plus points. They're just an offensive onslaught. They throw Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, and Kevin Durant as their big 3. And, of course, Grayson Allen has turned into a stalwart shooter and scorer in the NBA. And Tyus Jones, he signed for under $3 million with the Phoenix Suns. They really got a nice point guard there. A really great deal, and I wish the Atlanta Hawks had that deal. If they had that deal, we would not be in the predicament we are now with the Kobe Buffkin injury. We would have another option there at point guard. Although Dyson Daniels, Vit Krejci, and the other guards have been really stepping it up here in this absence. And my last episode, of course, discussed a little bit about Hawks' potential trades, and I still think they should focus on the front court if they want to make an impact for this season. Backcourt, as far as adding a point guard, they had a low amount of turnovers last game. They had 11 turnovers this game. They won the turnover margin again. Facilitating the ball was not quite as much the problem in today's game as much as not hitting as much shots as the Phoenix Suns, as they were on absolute tear. Kevin Durant, he had 23 points with 9 for 15 shooting from the field, 2 for 7 from three-point land, 7 assists, 3 blocks, as him and Plumlee really feasted on her front court combination, Clint Capella and Nyeka. That's not good. Certainly that front court combination looked great last game. In this game, it did not look so good. Kevin Durant is playing very physical brand of basketball. They're in his mid to upper 30s age range. Tyus Jones, he had 16 points on 6 for 12 field goal shooting from field. He had 4 3-pointers as well on 7 attempts. And as aforementioned, he signed for under $3 million. A 1-year contract there with the Phoenix Suns. Quite a great deal there for the Suns. Devin Booker, he had 20 points. His shooting woes continued with 42.9% shooting from field. He struggled a little bit since coming back from his injury there in mid to late December. Shooting from the field, last game he had a nice day shooting, but today he was as well 0 for 8 from three-point land. Grayson Allen, he did not have that problem. He was 5 for 6 from three-point land and 7 for 8 for field goals overall with 23 points, 4 for 4 free throws. So, of course, on this podcast, we'll look at 3 key stats, which team wins a basketball game, field goal percentage, rebounding, turnovers. Hawks, of course, lost 2 of those today, and quite handedly with the field goal percentage being 57.6% for the Phoenix Suns and the Hawks 48.8%. What kept the Hawks in this game was the turnover margin and the three-point shooting, as the Hawks' three-point shooting was 46.9% compared to the Suns' 39.4%, and turnovers as well for the Atlanta Hawks. We won that battle, having 5 less. The Suns had 16, while the Hawks had 11. The Suns, they handedly out-rebounded the Atlanta Hawks 50-34. Concerning stat. For a game that lost to I believe the Charlotte Hornets the other night. So, Devin Book, as previously mentioned, no Jalen Johnson, no Yusuf Nurkic did not play. Devin Booker, he opened up the scoring there at the 10-minute, 59-second mark of the first quarter. Hawks got their first bucket on Dyson Daniels tip-in, following up his own missed shot there at 10-minute, 33-second mark, first quarter. Hawks Suns traded baskets as by the 7-minute, 45-second mark of the first quarter was tied again, 11-11. Then the Suns went on a 12-0 run, capped by Tyce Jones' three-point shot, would put the Suns up 23-11. Hawks bench then kept pace, nice pace there with the Suns. They traded baskets before the Hawks eventually made their comeback there towards the end of the first quarter. Bogey Key came back on the other end and hit a three off Onyeka Okongwu assist, pulling the Hawks deficit back under single digits, 29-19 there around the 3-minute mark. Dyson Daniels, he had a kick ball violation, and Trae Young, he got subbed back in the game after an early rest. Devin Booker left the game. Bradley Beal came in and got a layup shortly after that, pushing the Suns' lead back up to 10, 29-19. Bradley Beal and Kevin Durant making 1 for 2 free throws would make up the rest of the offense for the next minute or so, as they put the Suns back up by 12 points, 31-19 Suns. And then comes David Roddy, aforementioned, and as cited in the game by the broadcast, Bob Rathbun and I believe Dominique Wilkins was on the call today. We had Brian Oliver in last game. David Roddy, he had 3 3-point shots there for the rest of the first quarter. It'd be 9 of his 11 points for the day. We haven't seen many David Roddy minutes. We saw him a lot in the preseason. He's playing a very physical brand of basketball in the preseason. Was certainly not expecting this offense onslaught by David Roddy to end the first quarter. I definitely commented online, David Roddy revenge game, getting revenge on his former team. And he as well hit a buzzer beater 3 to put the Hawks deficit to just 7 to end the quarter, as the Suns led 38-31 in the first quarter. Roddy, aforementioned, had 3 points off of 3-point shots, and Onyeka Okongwu, he had 4 of his 6 assists of the day. Very interesting stats. Nice to see that passing game from Onyeka. Hope to see more of that. Clint Capella and Dyson Daniels to start the second quarter return for Atlanta Hawks. Onyeka Okongwu, Zachary Rizache, and Bogdan Bogdanovic left the floor to start the second quarter. David Roddy, he got the first quarter score of the second quarter. His last bucket of the game, and his 11-point there at the 11-minute, 34-second mark. Assist by Garrison Matthews, who would hit a 3-point shot just seconds later at 10-minute, 59-second mark, cutting the Suns' lead to 5, 36-41. Hawks and Suns would trade baskets, and the deficit would remain in the 4 to 8 point range till the Hawks made a nice run the last 5 minutes. Right after a KD dunk, right there at the 5-minute mark of the second quarter, putting the Suns up 59-53. Onyeka Okongwu, he answered back seconds later, pulling the deficit to within 4 points, 59-55 Suns. Bogdan Bogdanovic, he hit a nice reverse layup there at the 4-minute, 27-second mark of the second quarter, putting the Hawks deficit to 2. And at the 3-minute and 40-second mark, the Hawks got their first lead of the game off of a bogey 3-point shot, putting the Hawks up 60-59. 2-minute, 59-second mark, the Hawks extend their lead to 3 points off to an 0-0 lay-in. Onyeka Okongwu, 62-59 Hawks. Devin Booker would tie the game just seconds later on a and one play there at the 2-minute, 48-second mark. It was an action-packed second quarter. Things were looking good for the Hawks there, as Dyson Daniels and Tyce Jones, they traded baskets at the 44 and 3-second marks. So Dyson Daniels and Tyce Jones trade baskets there in the last minute, the 44-second and 3-second mark, as the Hawks finished the half 72-68 with a 4-point lead over the Phoenix Suns. They went on a 41-30 run, outscoring the Phoenix Suns by 11 points there in that second quarter, absolutely going on a tear, and things were looking very nice for the Atlanta Hawks there to that point. But unfortunately, in the third quarter, the Phoenix Suns would absolutely come out absolutely on fire as they turned it around and as well quelled the Atlanta Hawks offense, only holding them to 23 points there in that third quarter. The Phoenix Suns, they scored 32 in the third quarter. Trae Young, he was really struggling at that point. He was 4 for 11 from field goals. A nice day from free throw line, 8 for 9. DeAndre Hunter, he was only 1 for 5 that point as well. Clint Capella is 4 for 11. DeAndre Hunter, he got his first basket there in the third quarter. Not a good sign at the 6-minute and 24-second mark. Bogey, aforementioned, he had a great shooting day. He already had his 17 points there by the end of the third quarter, so he's not much of a factor in the fourth quarter. The field goal percentage was already pretty tight. Was still pretty tight, as the Hawks only trailed by about 8%. Suns had a 59.7% field goal percentage through three quarters compared to Atlanta Hawks' 51.5%. Jalen Johnson is, of course, a big part of this Atlanta Hawks defense, but aforementioned, there's some questions on the Atlanta Hawks defense as well, controlling the lane and protecting the rim. There appears to be a bit too much reliance on help defense there and helping the lane. And of course, that's highlighted when Jalen Johnson is out. A team like the Phoenix Suns team with 4 lights out scorers between Bradley Beal, Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Grayson Allen. They can't have mess ups on rotations, can't have openings, can't have open shots often, as Phoenix Suns will start to get hot. They were only shooting 34.6% from three-point land to that point, up to the end of the third quarter, where the Phoenix Suns, the end of the day, 39.4%, as they had a nice fourth quarter there to pull away from the Atlanta Hawks and get that 8-point victory. Atlanta Hawks, they pulled it close there a few times in the fourth quarter. Things are looking pretty promising in the last few minutes, as DeAndre Hunter, he had a 3-point shot there at the 4-minute, 58-second mark to pull the Atlanta Hawks within 6, as the Suns led 111-105. Kevin Durant, he then came back seconds later and answered with a 3-point shot of his own, his 23rd point, putting the Suns up 114-105. And the Hawks got a miss on the other end. Tyce Jones, he came back with a 3-point as well. 117-107 Suns. Tyce Jones, 4th 3-pointer of the day. Grayson Allen, about half minute later, hit what appeared to be the dagger for the Suns, putting the Suns up by 15, 120-105. They're at the 3-minute, 6-second mark. Dyson Daniels, he answered back with a layup, and after that, the Suns called a timeout. Trae Young, after the Hawks got the ball back, got another layup, as the Hawks look maybe be coming back a little bit. But these Phoenix Suns were just shooting the lights out today. It's just too large of a deficit with under 3 minutes left. As Trae Young, he got another basket off a jump shot, pulling the margin deficit within single digits again, 120-111 Suns. He got another steal, the Hawks did, leading to 2 free throws for DeAndre Hunter at the 1-minute, 6-second mark. He made both of them. At the 1-minute, 22-second mark, DeAndre Hunter, he got back to the free throw line after a monstrous defensive sequence by Atlanta Hawks. They got the ball back. And in a puzzling play, the Suns fouled DeAndre Hunter on their side of the court. It seemed like it could have been a clear path foul as well. It never got reviewed in the game, never got talked about even. But DeAndre Hunter, he was driving up the court, and the player just kind of took him out from behind. he made them both, and the Hawks were back within a 5-point deficit. If they simply, if the Tyce Jones and Grayson Allen 3-point shots did not happen, or the Kim Durant shot did not happen, a little bit better closeout in one of those plays, or two of those plays, the Hawks would be tied or even have the lead after those free throws at the 1-minute, 22-second mark. And things were looking pretty bright as the Hawks got the ball back. And Trae Young, he went for a 32-foot jump shot, a 3-point shot. If this were a playoff game, I would be pretty mad at the shot. This is a regular season game, so the Hawks as well are on this road trip and are managing multiple players with injuries. Bogdanovich on the injury report. Trae Young on the injury report. Vit Krejci, he turned his ankle in the first half. Onyeka Okongwu, he's been out with injuries this year. Same with DeAndre Hunter. Dyson Daniels as well. He was out for a little bit of time as well. So it was a game that seemed mostly lost. I'm not upset by that 3-point attempt. Although if it was a playoff game, certainly I'd be very angry at that. It's not very good game management. The Hawks were only down 5 with a minute left. Get a sure basket. No reason to pull up for 32 feet, especially after the Suns had not made a basket for the previous nearly 2 minutes, minute and 44 seconds. Over 2 minutes. The last time the Suns had scored prior to that, Trae Young 32-foot pull-up attempt was at the 3-minute 6-second mark. So the Hawks held the Suns scoreless for nearly 2.5 minutes. If this was a playoff game, you definitely want better shot selection. But aforementioned, it's a regular season game. Hawks want to get out of there. It's not going to make a big difference in the standings at the end of the day. And as well, you don't want to be in a situation where you're playing overtime and further exhausting yourself with a game upcoming in less than 48 hours for Chicago Bulls here at home. So the final scores of the day would be Grayson Allen finger roll, which salted the game, and Devin Booker, he made a free throw after the Hawks did some panic fouling. All right, now the fun time episode. Let's talk about Vit Krejci from the Czech Republic, professional basketball player for the Hawks right now. He's turning 25 years old this year. A bit younger player, still developing. And what we saw out of Vit Krejci early after Kobe Buffkin went down is we saw a lot of fatigue, a lot of tiredness on the court from Vit Krejci, and a lot of struggles on defense. Since that, he's turned that around. As well, he's getting comfortable on the court and has been looking for his shot. He had a nice shooting day today, having 4 for 8 from field and 3 for 5 from three-point land, getting a nice 3-point shot there. And as aforementioned, it's his third game in the last 6 where he's had 5 or more assists, having 6 today, and as well having 12 points. In the previous 5 games up to today, he had a combination of 5 blocks and assists, steals, that is. So he's been more active on defense last year, coming out of the G League and coming up from G League. The Hawks stored him in the G League after acquiring him. We'll get to that in a minute. He's coming up from G League, and he's playing a very scrappy brand of defense, was Vit Krejci last year, and resulting in some fouls. This year it's been a very much more controlled brand of defense. He did have 2 personal fouls today in nearly 26 and a half minutes, but he's certainly not looking fatigued or gassed as much as he did. He's getting some game time minutes, getting used to game condition, getting into game condition, and playing regularly, and he's looking a lot more stalwart and effectively on defense and a lot more controlled. So a little bit on Vít Krejci and his path to the NBA. At 14 years of age, he moved from the Czech Republic to Spain, where he joined the Zaragoza Basketball Club, where he continued his development and worked towards his professional debut, which came in 2017. At 16 years of age, which we often see with these European stars, in debut match versus Fuenlabrada in the Spanish league. This debut made him one of the youngest players to ever play for Zaragoza, one of the other clubs in that Spanish league, tying Sergi Garcia's the second youngest debut in club history, only behind Carlos Alocen. Vít Krejci's career took a significant turn after he declared for the NBA draft for 2020, and he suffered a season-ending injury there against Real Madrid on September 25th, 2020, but he was still drafted by the Wizards in the second round, 37th overall, being a stalwart and star there out of Europe, and he was eventually traded to the Oklahoma City by the Washington Wizards in 2022, where he would see some game action there for the Washington Wizards. He did play, or the Oklahoma City, he did play some games for them. In 2022, he was traded to the Atlanta Hawks in exchange for Maurice Harkless and draft considerations. His tenure with the Hawks has been marked by resilience and development after being waived by Atlanta Hawks in August 2023, just prior to last season. And he signed with the Minnesota Timberwolves before he made his way back to the Atlanta Hawks, signing on a two-way contract after being waived by the Wolves in December 2023. He had a nice performance last year with the Skyhawks, a very interesting path here to what we see now with the Hawks. And that led up to his contract being extended to a 4-year, $10 million contract. I was very high and very positive on that contract. I was very excited about Vít Krejci being re-signed. And his initial play after Kobe Buffkin's injury had me worried. But lately, he's been shooting the lights out. He's been a stalwart playmaker as well, and only having one turnover compared to 6 assists today, cutting down on turnovers, getting more active and more effective on defense while limiting personal fouls, playing big minutes, giving 100% effort, and as well getting into game shape, looking less fatigued. Things are looking great for Vít Krejci right now. And the question is how can the Atlanta Hawks add to this backcourt if possible? If they want to make moves and add in this trade deadline, they might want to add to the front court and the back court. Although, as I've argued in last episode and early in this episode, I believe front court is this priority. During this time with Atlanta, Vít Krejci has shown flashes of brilliance, particularly in his ability to make smart plays and shoot beyond the arc. Last year, he was averaging 6.1 points per game with 41.2 shooting from three-point land with 3.1 attempts per game. Before being drafted by the Washington Wizards, he was an all-star there. He was named to the All-Star 5 at the 2019 FIBA European Championship Division B, where he averaged 14.9 points per game, 5.1 rebounds per game, and 5.1 assists per game, leading his team to silver medal. And I feel like that's kind of where we see Vít Krejci trending today. I feel like that's kind of the production that we would look for out of him at his peak in his career within this 4-year contract. He reminds me of a shorter, more guard-oriented version of Toni Kukoc. Of course, the great player that played for the Bulls coming out of Yugoslavia. Vít Krejci this season, he's averaging 4.2 points per game, 2.2 rebounds per game, 2 assists per game. I believe that is all going to be on the uptick, as his minutes per game has been 15.6. And the early part of the season, he's playing very sparse minutes. Now, of course, with the Kobe Buffkin entry, he'll be a stalwart part of the Atlanta Hawks rotation. He's already played 22 games this year and on pace to pass his career high of 30 games. So he'll do that in the next week or two. In his last 5 games, he scored over double digits twice for Utah and Denver, with his 5 assists in 2 games versus Denver and Miami. In the Nuggets loss, he had 14 points, 5 assists, 2 blocks, 6 rebounds. And where does that sound familiar? Well, just a few seconds ago, we mentioned how Pete Krejci in FIBA Championship, European Championship, he averaged similar numbers. So he's on pace here for Atlanta Hawks to really be putting up stalwart production there coming off the bench as well. He had 5 steals and 3 blocks. He had combined five steals and blocks in the last 5 games. Drop some paper there. So the next episode of BOS Sports episode 39. Not sure when it's going to be. We have this winter storm coming in on Saturday. Aforementioned, hope everyone in the Atlanta area stays safe, stay prepared, keep your batteries charged, as Frankie McDonald would say. And so for everyone in Atlanta, the Atlanta Hawks are playing versus the Chicago Bulls at State Farm Arena on Saturday afternoon. I believe it's at 3 p.m. Afternoon game, late afternoon game. I'm currently booked for an event in Buckhead, playing some saxophone. So hopefully that happens. Hopefully I'm not iced out. Always nice to make some saxophone bucks playing saxophone. So hopefully it goes well for me. If that's iced out, might do an episode Saturday up in there. If not, BOS Sports Podcast will resume Tuesday after Tuesday night's game. So thank you everyone for joining me this episode of BOS Sports, episode 38. Be sure to stream previous episodes of the BOS Sports Podcast, stream bars, so music on Spotify, and we'll see you soon, either Saturday or Tuesday. Stay safe.